What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. So today we have another client interview with one of our clients who has been killing it on our program for the past 6 months. Armando, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Anytime, anytime. So as we were speaking before, you've made tons of progress this past 6 months and a real inspiration for people actually that are listening to this or watching this. So, before we dive into that, I just wanted to ask Armando, for the people that are listening, do you want to just share a little bit about yourself and, I guess, kind of what you do and the main challenges that you had before coming to work with us?
Absolutely, yeah. So just turned 32 about a month ago. I'm a corporate attorney here in New York City, and I think one of the biggest challenges with being, involved in the corporate world and just being an attorney, especially at a big law firm, is that the unpredictability of hours will just will completely whatever schedule you had, set forth. It's always subject to change and very, very fluid and very, very flexible. So a lot of the biggest challenges with that, especially when you're trying to, maintain any sort of physical fitness level, is that let's say you have something planned at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. There's probably like a 25% chance that will get pushed back or it might get pushed to tomorrow. So then that kind of starts this cycle of just, all right, so where are we? It's tough to get yourself organized and into this sort of structure. And I think that was probably the biggest challenge before contacting you and becoming familiar with the program and stuff. And I think one of the biggest things is that once we are in this position of we've neglected to adhere to our schedule, we try to look for other ways to compensate that loss. And then once we do that, we get kind of into this never-ending cycle of where do I even start? And I think that's probably the biggest challenge of just knowing what to do and when there is a lot of uncertainty, and also trying to stick to a specific routine or structure when you have that uncertainty. And I think one of the biggest things was trying to be as consistent as possible. And obviously the uncertainty would impede that. And I think one of the biggest things was when I'd met is that I had just been coming off a very long year, and it had been very, very unpredictable. And one of the best things about and being engaged in the program is it was all kind of all those questions that I had in terms of structure, what to do. Everything was kind of all laid out, and it really took a lot of the work off of me of trying to figure out, all right, this is what I'm going to do this day, this is what I'm going to do the next day, this is what I'm going to do the other day. And then once we have that structure, it became a lot easier to pick up steam and become more consistent. And consistency leads to results. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I was happy about.
Amazing, man. No, that sounds great. And I think having the structure around, especially when things are busy and unpredictable, is like the time that you need it the most. Because let's say things are being thrown around and it's very chaotic. If you're not sure what to do for your training, it might fall for the wayside, or you might skip it, or you might go and have the wrong food or be not sure what to eat, right? It's like, I think a lot of us listening have been in these situations where the busier you are, the more structure you need to make things easy. So that's really important. That's great, man. And what would you say some of the results that you've got over the past 6 months? So I know you've been through a big transformation. So for you, like, what are the main things that you feel that you've achieved from it and the main results?
Well, I think the most obvious one is just a severe, or just not severe, but rather more like drastic, dramatic, just change in physique and change in frame and everything. There was a point towards the end of last year and definitely the second half of last year, where I was having trouble putting on certain pants, and like I would basically be moving my loopholes for my belt to the left instead of to the right, and then like it would just become kind of a mess. With that and the program now, I was wearing a pair of pants last week and trousers that like I can fit two fists in between the waistband and my like stomach. So that's obviously the biggest change is just the dramatic weight loss and shift in just physique and becoming much more where I would like to be. And then in terms of everything else, it just I think there's an element to which when you start these things and when you start these programs and trying to understand yourself, there is an element of like when you get yourself into that position of wanting to lose weight, you say to yourself, "Oh, everything I've been doing is really bad." That might be true. That might not be true. I think one thing that I learned is that there were some things that I was doing that was, probably pretty good. My diet was, not completely terrible, but in terms of just like the amount of like the good things that I was eating, I couldn't be eating those things, 6 times a day or something. So like it really one thing that really opened up was in terms of the fitness was just the diet and in terms of how to, you know, focus where I want my calories to go to, towards where I'm being most active and especially the carbs as well. And would like to have those macros early in the morning. And I think it just provided me with a lot more structure in terms of like I know what I can eat now, in the mornings, afternoons, and at nights, and I'm not gonna be. It'll be a enough to hit my macros. B, it'll be enough calories for the day, and then C, which is the most important thing, is that I feel very full and satisfied, and I don't have any cravings at night. So that's definitely one thing, and digestion has improved tenth amount. I think beforehand I remember I would be eating a lot of really not great or not healthy foods late at night, and I would wake up or I'd go to bed with like an upset stomach, and then wake up with an upset stomach, and I haven't had really that issue at all in the last 6 months. I think it's because we have an eye on what's going in, what's going out, what we want more of, what we want less of, what we can double down on. I think it really hits all of the things in terms of just fitness, diet, and then also my energy levels are also very high. It's good. Been focusing a lot more on sleep too to this first half of the year. So that's definitely been a lot of a big aid and working and attacking every day for sure.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. It's a range of benefits there, which are amazing. And like the byproduct of being healthy is not just the looking good, it's the fact that it gives you more energy and it improves the way that your body functions, like gut and things like that. And I think that's a big missed part of what people think fitness is. They think they see the exterior side of things of looking great and looking good. But I'd say even more importantly, especially if you're doing well in your career, it's actually how you feel each day internally, the energy that you've got, the digestion and stuff like that, because that affects your thoughts, your decision making, and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that that's probably one of the biggest things as well is that at work, people will see me and they'll comment, oh, you're looking a lot thinner. So like it'll be like a whole positive. It'll be the whole positive reinforcement in terms of everything.
Yep.
It's a confluence of all the factors. So that's definitely been one of the more positive aspects is that it's helped me also with work and also saving money wise too. We cook a lot more in the apartment now than we did before. I was telling Lloyd this, months ago, and like I was just looking back at my Uber Eats like history order and like order history, and I'm just like, what is this? Like I wouldn't, even if I was starving for 3 days right now, I wouldn't order like this food. I just don't know what's going through my head. It's funny because one of the biggest concerns was that like once we kind of reached like the where we wanted to be at or our goal was that I kind of revert back to this, these desires. And it's like, it's kind of in the opposite. I kind of just want to keep going, like there's an element of which like, I want to see, how many more greens I can eat with also trying to mix in more protein and all these different things that have been working for me the last few months, which is very great. And I just obviously appreciate how portable though everything has been. So it's honestly remarkable.
That's fantastic. No, really appreciate that feedback. And Lloyd, I know you worked closely with Armando and you really helped him with the transformation. So, yeah, anything to kind of add to that or any insight that you could give that would be valuable?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Amanda said, and I know we joked about it a few times, looking at like the Uber Eats history in the past, and him saying, going forward, you want to continue this eating trend, and it's what you said earlier in the call where you mentioned that the way you feel, that you can't show that on a transformation picture. Like when you look at someone, you go, oh wow, they look great, but you don't know how they feel, and Amanda now feels that much better, like the gut stuff and all of that stuff. Like you feel 10 times better. So it's like, why would I now want to go back and put myself in a position where I was in October when you were feeling, crappy a lot of the time and not feeling too good and spending loads of money on takeout food, which in isolation is okay once in a while, but when it's constant and you're eating it a lot, like it really does damage you internally. And kind of eating a healthier diet and things like that is just obviously it's testament, and Armando's said it not only with the weight loss but just how he feels in general. And I would just say it's consistency, and reiterating what Amando said at the start is like he's responded really well to the way things are set up. So what we do on this program is you get a calendar overview basically, and it shows you a list of things to do today. So every day you've got a checklist of like, get this done. If you get this done, you're one step closer to your goal. So it's never like you're having to look too far in the future. It's just like, what do I need to do today? Okay, let me get this done. Next day, what do I need to do today? Okay, I get this done. And I think Amanda responded so well to just ticking off the boxes every single day. And next thing you know, it's 6 months down the line, we're 35 pounds down, and we're in a position that we're in now. So yeah, he just responded really, really well to that. And the consistency side of things is fantastic. I think every single Friday we had a check-in, and every time we spoke on the Friday, you had an all-time low weigh-in. So that consistency was there every week.
Yeah, and that was why the coolest part is that like I think just is just trusting the process. And you know, as cliche as it sounds, I mean, there would be times, you know, and especially in the lead ups to Friday, where like it would be like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and like you know, I still hadn't really dropped you know the specific amount that I wanted to drop that week. But then I'd wake up on Friday, and then all of a sudden it's like we're lower than we wanted to be. So it's just like this thing where it's like just keep going at it and like keep. And I remember specifically because there are times like where, especially at the beginning, I remember where I would definitely, you know, the first 3 4 weeks, I remember we were talking, and I was feeling like, I mean, I was seeing the result being lighter on the scale, but I was having trouble seeing specifically where in my body I was losing the weight. And then I remember you said, like, oh, it's all coming off your back. And then we looked at my back, you know, compared to, you know, 4 weeks ago, or 4 weeks before you know, that picture was taken. And it was just a very marked difference. So it's that thing as well. It's just looking for, you know, value or answers where you hadn't necessarily thought of before. Because we all, you know, we face we our eyes are at the front of our head and all these things, but not everything that we see is you know could be providing like the useful results that we want to get forward.
Yeah, that's true. People get quite emotional. When you're doing it yourself, it's very easy to get reactive and make decisions. Like you said, then like, oh, is it working or is it not working? But then me giving you another perception and perspective and saying, no, look, if you look here or you look there, you can see where things are working, and having an outside source, that accountability that says, no, you're doing the right things, keep going, and not getting emotional and going, right, this week I'm going to go on 5 runs at like 10K and sprint because I'm just
Yeah,
trying to. You don't end up doing that because it's like, nope, we're doing the right things, we're ticking the boxes, the accountability's there, keep going, and then yeah, it comes off your back, your neck, your face, your arms, it comes off from all over.
yeah,
Ways that middle section which everyone stares at, it comes off from everywhere, and eventually it comes off all over, which it has with you.
yeah. And that's definitely the you know the biggest part about it is that you know the results are there and they usually stay. I mean, there have been instances where you and I have spoken about this where if we wanted to drop 20 pounds within the next 2 months, we could do that. And there's just many different ways to skin the cat. We can't really assure that I'll be, you know, feeling the way I feel now just because of like we're doing this like we'll probably do some crazy like fad diet or something, and then like you know I'll be running with like a hoodie or like a sweater in like 100 degrees or something, and like doing like a 10K outside. So that's not sustainable, you know. That's just completely unsustainable. And I think what I had appreciated about this is that like it's a very slow burn, but you're gonna get the results that that if you're patient, you're gonna get the results that you're seeking. It's just impossible for you for them not to you know not to show up, especially if one is like honestly putting in all of the work. It's the kind of thing where it's like I can't guarantee if we decided to do the 8 week 20 pound weight loss thing that like I'll be feeling great afterwards, and B that weight will stay off afterwards. So I think that's definitely the biggest thing is that you know the results are very sustainable and they're also very you know marked as well.
That's amazing. No, that's great. Great feedback. And for people listening to this that are maybe on the fence, they could be watching this and be like, oh, you know, I'm still not sure about joining the program. I guess, what would your advice be to them?
You have nothing to lose. I mean, my advice to them would be like if you can figure out a way to do all of these things that I had just mentioned by yourself, go for it. But if not, I think that one shouldn't be, you know, one shouldn't shy away from having to seek outside, you know, counsel, especially when it comes to things that they're not experts on. I do it all the time. I'm, you know, fairly intelligent person, but when it comes to things in the law, I always reach out to people who are smarter than me and who I, you know, who have the wherewithal and the knowledge because I just don't know these things. And I think a lot of people have to, maybe swallow their pride a little bit. And my advice to them would be, you have nothing to lose. Swallow your pride. I guarantee you won't be disappointed with the results. And it's the kind of thing where it's 100% worth it. Because the results, everything, it's not only just a fitness thing, it's a whole, it's building habits. And I think that once you get out of this, you've removed yourself from this phase of just bad habits, it's really easy to pick up those good habits that you've built with consistency. So if you're looking for something radically to change, what it is, with your lifestyle, habit, diet, all of it, I would say 100% go for it, because there are a million different workout programs you'll find, and I honestly don't think that, like, without having that sort of accountability, you won't get the results that we had that we obtained in the last 6 months.
Absolutely. No, fantastic. That's great. And Amanda, what's for you next, man? I hear you're going to be running the marathon. Is that true?
Yeah. I start my official training program tomorrow at about like noon. I would say I'm going on a run with my coach, and the next phase of 2024 is the New York City Marathon. I start training tomorrow, and then the actual date of the race is November 3rd. So
Cool.
I'll keep you guys posted on that front and send you guys pictures of everything else along the way, so you guys can, if you wanted to throw that in there in the marketing, I'd obviously be honored for that. That'd be great. But yeah, that's my next step. So I'm pretty psyched about.
Sounds great, man. And yeah, we'll definitely have to keep in contact, and I'm sure you're going to absolutely smash that. So that's phenomenal.
Appreciate
So
it.
Armando, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we round off? Anything additional that we didn't cover at all?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, just anyone who also signs on to this, just ask questions. That's probably the biggest thing I would say to those who enlist. I remember my first few weeks with Lloyd, and you can vouch for this. I think we spent, like, I would just ask you questions for like the first like 15-20 minutes of our call. I'm just like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? I just like, and then we finally got to like, all right, so how are you doing? But like, that's probably my biggest thing, is just like ask as many questions as possible. Because whether it's about a specific exercise, a specific food, whether it has to do with sleep or or you want to do some cardio, ask questions. That's probably the biggest thing, is just ask questions, and really be a sponge when it comes to all this stuff, because we really don't know everything. And I think that's one of the biggest, more humbling things about all these processes, is that we just don't know everything. So asking questions is definitely the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I can echo that as well. And Lloyd can probably, attest to this. The clients that get the most success on the program are nearly always the ones that ask the most questions and kind of really utilize the knowledge and the stuff that we've tried to build to then improve, right?
Yeah, I would say never blindly follow. Like, yes, you hire us because we're fitness coaches, but also it's good to not just blindly follow and say, like, why are we doing this? Because yeah, like Armando said, now he's outside of the program. He knows why he's doing certain things. He's not like, oh, I do 10,000 steps a day, but I don't know why I do it. And it's like, he knows why. So you can take different things and apply it to different parts of your life afterwards.
Yeah, and the converse is true as well. It's like, if someone wants to take 20,000 steps a day, it's just like, you can, but like, are you going to be feeling great and have energy for your workout later? It's like, probably not. So, there's a lot of things where it's just like, there's a lot of patience that it takes to, like, getting those results that you want, because time is just very limited. And, we're all about efficiency, and trying to basically make the most out of every single opportunity that you have is really, really valuable, especially when you're running so short on time. So yeah, that's definitely my biggest thing.
Yeah. No, phenomenal. So Armando, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the marathon. We're glad that you're continuing the healthy habits moving forward. And yeah, we'll definitely have to stay in contact as well as things progress.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, of course. And if there's anything else I can hop on again, or something, any other testimonials, I'm happy to do that. My pleasure.
Top man. Thank you.